in the history of the monarchy that this has happened. And therefore, we've all been asking, the doctor's name should be made public. You know that they put that outside with the easel, right? And then Harry, if we go by his narrative and spare, he says that Meghan Markle went to the hospital, the Portland hospital, and then she humped a ball, that she was put in the bathtub. She was given not one, but 2 epidurals. I am a mom. I have had my child by using an epidural. Doctors will never put you in a bathtub if you have an epidural because you have a tube sometimes, you know. They can't be pulling you out of water, can get in, all kinds of things can happen. And then Harry in his book says that within 2 hours of the child being born, they were back at Frogmore Cottage.
This moment marks an unprecedented chapter in royal history, something that has never happened before. Naturally, it has sparked waves of curiosity and debate. Why hasn't the name of the doctor attending the birth been revealed? Traditionally, in line with royal customs, the name of the attending physician is proudly displayed on an easel outside the hospital to honor the event and provide transparency. But this time, that simple gesture is missing, stirring plenty of questions. Now, if we listen to Prince Harry's own recounting, one that many feel deserves to be heard with fairness, he paints a vivid picture of those critical hours. According to his version, Meghan Markle was admitted to the Portland hospital, where her labor began. What follows is quite intense. She was placed in a bathtub to help with the delivery and received not one.
Those are his words. Those are not my words. Those are his. And then if that is the case, that means that this woman with not one, but 2 epidural, with a very difficult birth, geriatric, was literally cleaned up. The baby was smucked, wrapped, put in a van, and sent back because it takes almost an hour from Portland Hospital to go to Frogmore Cottage.
Yes.
How can this woman be allowed? That is a medical liability.
If you had the option, P. Diner, to interview Meghan Markle, what would be the 3 things that you would like to ask?
I would ask her, girl, did you give birth to those children? Did you really birth those children? That's what I would ask her.
Show me the birth certificate, okay?
Yeah, show us the birth certificate.
But 2 epidurals during what was described as a challenging labor. As a mother myself, I can attest that this isn't a typical scenario. Medical protocol usually forbids putting a woman with an epidural, which often involves a catheter or monitoring tubes into a tub, because it poses risks such as infection or complications with the tubes. It's a delicate balancing act that requires extreme caution. But here's the part that truly raises eyebrows. According to Harry's own words, within just 2 hours after the baby was born, the new family was already back at Frogmore Cottage. Think about that, a difficult labor involving multiple epidurals, followed by a rapid return home less than 60 minutes away from the hospital by car. The logistics alone make this seem almost impossible. How was Meghan physically able to make such a swift trip right after delivery? From a medical standpoint, this kind of quick transition could be risky. It challenges the standard protocols and raises concerns about patient care and safety. This distinction between privacy and secrecy becomes crucial here.
Royal births from 1688 until 1936 were witnessed by the Home Secretary, and thereafter the Home Secretary's presence was deemed to be unnecessary because you had the royal obstetricians and you had unimpeachable witnesses to the birth of those children who would then sign off officially on the announcements. Every royal birth, with the exception of Archie's and Lilibet's, has been signed off by a host of royal doctors.
There's a big difference between privacy and secrecy. Now, royal births are supposed to be, the details have to be made public because they have to reassure the United Kingdom that they meet the legal requirements to be in the line of succession, right? And we know that the only living witness to Archie's birth is Prince Harry. Who else? We don't know any.
Royal births have always carried an element of public duty. Their details are shared to reassure the citizens of the United Kingdom that everything is above board and complies with the legal requirements for royal succession. The public's right to know, especially about events that shape the line to the throne, is essential. So, who was there to witness this intimate, historic moment? According to all official accounts, the only living witness to Archie's birth was Prince Harry himself. No one else has been publicly acknowledged. That fact alone immediately catches your attention, hinting at how unusual and tightly controlled this event was from start to finish. Royal watchers were quick to notice that this moment represented a significant departure from tradition, shaking the expectations many had about royal births. For years, commentators explained that announcing the attending physician wasn't just about ceremony or protocol.
And another thing that I know that they do, if a royal lady who's about to give birth, there's 2 phone calls that the security team makes. One to the palace to inform Her Majesty that, she's gone into labor. And 2, that to the security, the head of security, to secure the premises where they go. Harry claims that they didn't do any of that. That means that the Royal Police Protection Officers violated security protocol, which will be a first. So I had so many questions. I wrote to Parliament. I sent you the emails for a Freedom of Information Act request. I just wanted them to verify to me that the baby was born in Portland in the names of the doctors, which should be of public information because those children are included in the line of succession. You read what they sent to me. They said that they're not in the business of delivering babies, which is a very weird answer to give because Parliament is in charge of verifying that all royal children meet the legal requirements to be in the line of succession, and documents are sent.
It served a deeper purpose, introducing a trusted medical professional who was publicly acknowledged as being responsible for the delivery, adding a layer of transparency without crossing the delicate line of revealing private medical details. Yet, it's important to note that no official rule compels the palace or family to release this information at all. This subtle shift, however, set Archie's birth announcement apart from previous royal arrivals and sparked lively conversation that continues to echo today. As intrigue grew, questions naturally emerged about the events inside the Portland hospital on that memorable morning. The hospital responded with a brief but polite statement, congratulating the family while firmly holding to standard healthcare privacy practices by declining to share any detailed medical information. This approach aligned perfectly with standard confidentiality rules, so there was nothing unusual about their measured reply. It did, however, leave a vacuum of official detail beyond what Prince Harry and Meghan chose to share publicly. This created a unique situation where much of the public's understanding of that special day came directly from the couple's own words, rather than from independent medical staff or official accounts, which is uncommon for such high-profile arrivals. But the story didn't stop there. Public attention soon turned to a surprising detail concerning Archie's birth certificate. The document was officially recorded on the 17th of May 2019, well within the customary registration period. At first glance,
we can see here, this is Santa Barbara County, and you see certificate of live birth. Santa Barbara Cottage, she was born, and this is completely where it says the Duke of Sussex. That's Harry's first name, and his last name is His Royal Highness, okay? Which we know is incorrect, right? This was issued on July 2nd, 2021. I want you to pay attention to this number right here, the 105-202, the 105-2021-163206. That number is incredibly important.
Birth certificate for Lily looks nothing like the birth certificate for my son and others. It's definitely different. And even the copy that was released by TMZ said this is not like an official copy. So we have never seen the real birth certificate for Lily. We have not seen it. So I know from what I've seen, it's not legit. It's not, because I have one and it looks completely different.
Fascinating.
And no one, like, who's going to come out and say anything? Who? You know what I mean? So, like, she can get away with it. That's what I think.
It seemed straightforward. Meghan was listed under her full legal name, Rachel Meghan, including her royal title and official standing. On the surface, nothing appeared out of the ordinary. However, in less than a month, an updated version of the birth certificate was issued, and this revised document removed Meghan's given names entirely, listing only her royal title. This administrative change caught the eyes of the media, with multiple outlets reporting on the unexpected alteration. Speculations swirled regarding the reasons behind this update, sparking a fresh wave of public curiosity and debate. Then, over a year later, Omid Scobie, a well-known royal correspondent, released a statement on behalf of the family, offering some insight that added yet another layer to the unfolding narrative. The Sussexes claimed that the amendment in question wasn't a request made by Prince Harry or Meghan, but rather something that palace officials had directed. Surprisingly, Buckingham Palace chose not to officially address or refute this claim, which only fueled speculation and left the public and royal watchers to form their own theories. Adding to the mystery, no one outside the immediate circle has ever actually seen Lily's official birth certificate.
Now you're wondering, why does that number really matter, Paula? This is directly from the government's website, guys. And this is reviewing a birth certificate, birth area code, okay? And then it tells you what it is. It's the first 3 digits. You remember the 105 that you saw? Is the birth area code. It tells you in which state the child was born. We have seen that in Lilibet's birth certificate. It states that her number is 105. So surely that is California, right? It turns out that California is 104. It's right here. And Colorado is 105. It was announced that Lilibet was born in Santa Barbara on June 4th, 2021. Suddenly, weird things started to happen because the obstetrician who helped deliver Lilibet shut her practice with little notice, telling patients she needs to focus on my own health and be with my family. Her name is Dr. Melissa Drake. And her husband happens to coincidentally own a fertility clinic. But she quit with given barely 10 days notice to patients, which is unheard of.
This absence has raised eyebrows, with some suggesting that the document might not be entirely authentic. One insider even mentioned that their own birth certificate looked completely different, with details that didn't match what was offered as proof, yet no one publicly challenged the claim. The silence and secrecy allowed Meghan to seemingly sidestep questions, giving the impression she might be benefiting from the ambiguity without scrutiny. When it came to the arrivals of other young royals, like Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, things played out very differently. Before their births, the public was informed about the hospital where they would be delivered well in advance, along with the names of the medical team attending to the mothers. This pattern wasn't new. Similar information had been openly shared for Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, who entered the world years earlier at the Portland Hospital. Because of this long-established tradition, royal commentators and the public alike anticipated a similar announcement process for Archie's birth back in 2019.
I have spoken to doctors, nurses, many women who've given birth to children, and all of them say the same thing. Those photographs of Meghan and the way the baby bump performed are totally unexpected, and they're not aware of any pregnant woman who is genuinely pregnant having her bump perform the way Meghan's has performed.
I think she is a person who's done huge damage to the royal family, has been deeply, deeply inaccurate on many issues, and is of absolutely no value either to the royal family or society. But she just sucks from it, she takes from it and exploits it and profits from it.
But the months leading up to Archie's arrival unfolded in an unexpected way. Several media outlets reported that Harry and Meghan planned a more private experience, possibly opting for a home birth at Frogmore Cottage, supported by midwives rather than a hospital delivery. These reports shaped what the public expected, a quiet, intimate birth away from the prying eyes of the press. So, when the big day finally came, photographers weren't camped outside any London hospital, waiting for news or photos. Then, on the 6th of May 2019, the bombshell. The official announcement said that Archie had already been born at the Portland Hospital. What shocked many wasn't just where he was born. It was that the information wasn't made public until after the birth had already happened. This break from tradition marked a new, unprecedented approach in royal birth announcements, leaving fans and commentators scrambling to piece together what had really happened.
All other royal babies in the line of succession have had their births signed off. Princess Eugenie, Princess Beatrice, Sarah York, Diana Wales, Catherine Wales, you name it. Everybody knows where the babies came from, at what time, with proof. The only two children that there is no proof for is Prince Archie Bunker and Princess Lily. You better hope that she's really entitled to what they claim she's entitled.
Then when the baby was born, when Archie was born, that was another, in my view, a disaster, because I knew we was not going to get a picture of it. Everybody was hoping we would get pictures.
Meanwhile, the hospital itself kept its reaction concise, offering no extended comment on the matter, which only deepened the intrigue surrounding the whole event. The palace sent warm congratulations, but politely declined to reveal any further details, citing patient confidentiality. This was completely in line with well-established medical privacy protocols, yet it left the public and media hungry for more. Beyond the official announcement carefully crafted by the palace, almost nothing else was shared openly. This approach was noticeably different from what people had come to expect with royal births. When it came time for the first public introduction, Prince Harry and Meghan took an uncommon route. Instead of stepping out with baby Archie outside the hospital mere hours after his birth, something the royal family had done for decades, they held off. It wasn't until May 8th, nearly 6 weeks later, that they unveiled photos of their son. These images were taken inside the elegant St. George's Hall at Windsor Castle. The setting was meticulously arranged, delivering a controlled and intimate atmosphere for the debut. This carefully curated presentation sharply contrasted with the long-standing tradition many had grown familiar with.
Let's not forget that when Prince Philip died and the Queen placed that envelope, remember that? It said Lilibet. And she said that she didn't want anybody else using that particular endearing name, that died with Prince Philip. And what did Meghan Markle do? Just think of the deviousness, the evil of this.
Prince William and Catherine had introduced their 3 children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, right outside the hospital's Lindo wing, just hours after each was born. Those brief but iconic moments on the hospital steps had become much more than family milestones. They were a modern ritual, a carefully timed window for photographers to catch the first official portraits before the royal family retreated back home. However, Harry and Meghan's choice for Archie's introduction sent a clear message. Instead of random crowds and flashing cameras greeting them outside, they opted for the privacy and calm of a planned indoor photo shoot. Photographers didn't gather en masse at a hospital entrance. Instead, the images were released at an exclusive event under conditions designed to offer maximum control. Just 2 days after this unique presentation, royal experts and commentators began weighing in on what this meant. For some, it symbolized Harry and Meghan's earnest desire to balance public interest with their family's privacy, allowing them to decide the exact moment and manner in which they shared life's precious details.
Because the Queen said nobody uses that name anymore around me, I do not want to hear it anymore, that died with my husband. What did Meghan and Harry do? They named their child Lilibet, and they lied to the Queen because they told the Queen the child would be named Lily. Hence the tweet from Prince William and from Kensington Palace saying, "We're delighted to announce the birth of Lily," because that's the name that Palace, the Queen, and everybody around them were told that invisible child was going to be called.
Others saw it as simply a new tradition that aligned better with their personal values and lifestyle. Regardless, this departure highlighted one undeniable reality. The Sussexes were charting their own path, one that visibly set them apart from the established conventions of the senior royal family. This pattern wasn't a one-off. When their daughter, Princess Lilibet, arrived in California on the 4th of June 2021, a similar story unfolded. Lilibet became the first British royal born outside the United Kingdom in over a century, a rare event that naturally attracted widespread attention and curiosity. Just like with Archie, the way her arrival was announced and celebrated reflected Harry and Meghan's unique approach to their public disclosures and the evolving relationship they maintained with royal traditions and the media. The announcement of the baby's name instantly captured the world's attention, stirring curiosity and admiration alike. Just 2 days after the birth, Archwell shared the heartfelt explanation behind the choice. The name Lilibet was a deeply personal tribute, honoring Queen Elizabeth II's cherished family nickname, a private moniker used lovingly by her nearest and dearest throughout her lifetime. Meanwhile, Diana paid homage to Harry's late mother, Princess Diana, whose legacy continues to inspire millions. In that moment,
as the last violation to the Queen felt violated. When somebody does something to you against your will, that is a form of violation, in the worst possible way.
The name was celebrated as a heartfelt bridge between 2 generations of Harry's family, symbolizing connection, respect, and remembrance. But what began as a touching story soon unfolded into something far more complex, sparking fresh waves of speculation and debate. Just days later, the BBC reported, citing an unnamed palace insider, that Queen Elizabeth II had not been consulted before her intimate nickname was made public. This revelation cast a shadow over what many had seen as a simple, loving tribute. Buckingham Palace, true to its usual reserved style, refrained from offering a detailed public response, while representatives for Harry and Meghan vigorously contested the BBC's claims, insisting the report was inaccurate. This clash of perspectives quickly highlighted one of the enduring challenges of royal narratives, competing versions of the truth, leaving the public to navigate a sea of conflicting whispers and official denials. The controversy over Lilibet's name didn't fade away quietly.
They said Mr. Bauer's commentary has long crossed the line from criticism into fixation. This is someone who has publicly stated the monarchy in fact depends on actually obliterating the Sussexes from our state of life, language that speaks for itself.
Instead, it became a striking example of how quickly royal stories can be contested, reshaped, and amplified in the court of public opinion. Almost immediately following the BBC's report, Harry and Meghan's spokesperson made a public statement. They assured everyone that Harry himself had spoken directly with the Queen before the news broke, sharing the couple's wish to honor her by naming their daughter Lilibet. According to the statement, the Queen was fully supportive of this choice, and her blessing had been secured well in advance. Further, the Sussexes' legal team challenged the BBC's account, labeling the report as inaccurate and misleading. Yet, despite those challenges, the BBC stood firmly behind its journalism, refusing to retract the story. With both sides holding their ground, the situation became a rare case of 2 conflicting narratives entering the public record with no resolution in sight. This back and forth continued to fuel debate, intrigue, and speculation, reflecting the intense scrutiny royal families often face. As the conversation simmered, it resurfaced once again in early 2024, catching renewed interest, this time connected to insights from royal author Robert. In his book Times Charles III, New King, New Court,
The first pictures of Archie that was taken by the Press Association. I remember showing her on my phone, and she sort of, and that was the first time she saw him, you know. So it was difficult times. I mean, obviously, when William was born and Harry was born and George and Charlotte and Louis, we got great pictures outside the hospital. I remember, and William and Catherine especially, they made such an effort to show the whole world their new baby.
Author Hardman includes a striking passage from an anonymous palace insider, revealing how Queen Elizabeth II reportedly felt upon discovering that a private family nickname had somehow become public knowledge. This candid glimpse into the royal inner circle stirred significant curiosity and debate. Because the comments come from an unnamed source instead of an official declaration, readers have been left to wrestle with how seriously to take it. Some see it as a rare, behind-the-scenes window into the monarch's true emotions, a secret whisper from the heart of Buckingham Palace. Others, however, urge caution, reminding us that without direct confirmation, it's hard to know the full context or accuracy of the claim. This divide perfectly captures the ongoing tension surrounding this story, the way it has remained shrouded in mystery and fertile ground for speculation. One camp steadfastly insists that the Queen gave her blessing to the nickname beforehand, perhaps recognizing its endearing charm within the family. Meanwhile, Other reports hint that she may have been less than thrilled about its exposure, suggesting more complexity beneath the surface. Without an official statement from Queen Elizabeth II herself, all we have are layers of competing voices and interpretations, each coloring the story in different shades. Around this same time, another major royal biography reignited the spotlight on Harry and Meghan, the Sussexes.
Remember, Harry and Meghan threatened to sue at the drop of a hat, and they have never tried to sue Tom Bower because they know what he writes is true.
In March 2026, investigative writer Tom Bower released Time's Betrayal, a detailed examination that digs deeply into official records, interviews, public statements, and timelines to uncover inconsistencies and gaps in the existing narrative. Bower's investigative style, meticulously cross-checking documents and sources, has defined much of his career, chronicling the lives of public figures. His methodical approach allows readers to see where stories align and where they sharply diverge, revealing the messy reality behind polished headlines. Unsurprisingly, Betrayal Times sparked an immediate and intense reaction, fueling fresh debates. Admirers praised it as a thorough and compelling probe into sensitive royal matters, while detractors challenged some of its interpretations, questioning the conclusions drawn. The Sussex family's representatives quickly issued a public response, emphasizing their side of the story. Yet, this back and forth only underscored a recurring theme. Major events involving the Sussexes rarely produce one clear, definitive account. Instead, they inspire a swirl of conflicting narratives, shaped by differing perspectives on official documents, media portrayals, and personal testimonies. For royal enthusiasts and casual observers alike, this pattern has become a defining feature of the Sussex story, an ongoing puzzle where truth, perception, and speculation intertwine. When you dive into interviews, personal biographies, or official palace communications, you quickly realize that different sources often highlight varying details or reach differing conclusions. This doesn't mean that any one account is totally right or completely off, but it does shed light on why debates over these events have persisted so passionately for years. For many of us, watching from the outside, the bigger picture isn't about any single headline, it's about the intricate puzzle of assembling a coherent timeline made up of countless viewpoints, each revealing just a fragment of the whole story. Official statements from the palace tend to be brief and often leave out richer details. Meanwhile, personal interviews offer deeply subjective glimpses into one individual's experience, colored by their memories and emotions. Investigative authors frequently rely on confidences shared behind the scenes, lending their work an air of secrecy and exclusivity. And, of course, media outlets bring their own editorial standards and angles to the table. When these different approaches collide, it's no surprise that inconsistencies pop up, and those contrasts often dominate public conversations. This ongoing clash of perspectives is exactly what has kept these stories alive, despite the fact that the original events occurred years ago. Instead of settling into a neat, universally accepted narrative, each fresh interview, biography, or investigative report adds a new layer, further complicating an already tangled story. This evergreen complexity ensures that royal enthusiasts, commentators, and curious viewers alike continue to scrutinize the public record, comparing new revelations against established accounts whenever fresh information emerges. Take the work of Tom Bower, for example. Regardless of whether people agree with his conclusions, it's undeniable that his books spark lively debate. What sets him apart is his methodical, side-by-side comparison of public records, official statements, interviews, and timelines. Supporters of Bower praise this approach for spotlighting discrepancies worth exploring, while critics push back, pointing out that the very same facts can be interpreted through many different lenses. Much like many other royal stories, how convincing the narrative feels ultimately depends on which sources resonate most with the reader or viewer. Reflecting on everything we've covered so far, some specific details continue to capture the attention of royal commentators and insiders. One key point revolves around the official announcements regarding births. Historically, when members of the royal family have welcomed new additions like Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis, a clear and consistent pattern has been followed. The attending medical professionals were publicly named. This tradition reinforced transparency and helped cement official timelines. But in the case of Archie's birth, that expected detail was notably missing. No doctor's name was ever released to the public, which struck many as unusual, breaking from the well-established royal practice. This omission has fueled speculation, prompting even more questions and encouraging people to re-examine previously accepted facts, further adding to the intricate web of mystery surrounding these events. The official announcement of Archie's birth sparked a variety of reactions, with some commentators interpreting it as a significant break from royal tradition, while others saw it more as a personal choice by Harry and Meghan to protect their privacy in a unique way. This subtle but noticeable shift set the tone for how the couple would engage with the public moving forward. Then there was the curious case of Archie's birth certificate. Weeks after the initial registration, an updated version was quietly issued, altering the way Meghan's name was recorded. Now, while it's perfectly legal and not uncommon for such records to be amended, what truly piqued public interest was the lack of a clear, consistent explanation for the change. Over time, various statements and interpretations surfaced, each differing in detail, which kept this issue alive in the media and among royal watchers, leaving many wondering about the true reasons behind it. Another realm of ongoing intrigue lies in how Archie's birth was portrayed to the world. The official palace only released a brief, formal statement on the very day he was born, minimal and carefully composed. Later on, Meghan shared her personal reflections during several interviews, highlighting her own experience and perspective. Meanwhile, Prince Harry provided additional insights, but those came much later and with measured restraint. Since each narrative was shaped under different circumstances and for distinct intentions, they naturally brought attention to different facets of the same remarkable event. Over time, comparing these varying accounts has become almost a pastime for those closely following the Sussexes, adding layers to the broader conversation about how the couple handles their story. The way Archie's arrival was publicized also broke new ground. Unlike recent royal births, the exact hospital where Archie was born wasn't officially revealed until after the fact. Furthermore, the first public photos of Archie didn't appear in front of the hospital steps, but were instead released during a carefully orchestrated event at Windsor Castle. These choices were unusual and sparked questions: were Harry and Meghan striving for a higher degree of privacy compared to past royal parents? Or was this simply an illustration of their preferred media strategy, aimed at more control over how their family moments were shared with the world? The answer continues to be debated, with no definitive conclusion but plenty of speculation. One final topic that continues to stir conversations is the naming of Princess Lilibet. One narrative suggests that Queen Elizabeth II was consulted in advance and gave her blessing to the name, lending it a sense of traditional family approval. On the other hand, palace insiders have offered a different version, hinting at less direct involvement or agreement. Because both accounts remain part of the public dialogue without any official retraction, this story too remains a subject of ongoing interest and debate. It becomes another chapter in the complex and evolving saga of Harry and Meghan's relationship with the royal family, a relationship that continues to fascinate and sometimes divide public opinion. When it comes to discussing family dynamics and controversies, books like Tom Bower's Time's Betrayal Times have stepped in to weave together many of the scattered public events into one comprehensive narrative. Bower's work doesn't just retell headlines, it compiles a timeline that connects the dots for readers hungry to make sense of the unfolding saga. Naturally, as with many biographies investigating high-profile figures, Betrayal Times has received mixed reactions. Some readers praise its depth and insight, while others question its interpretations or conclusions. This mix of acceptance and skepticism is par for the course whenever a story involves individuals already under the spotlight for years, where every detail has been endlessly analyzed and debated. Looking closer, none of these individual points fully reveal the whole truth behind Archie's birth, and the Sussex's public story. Instead, it's the sum of different parts fragments taken from official paperwork, interviews already shared with media, widely circulated news reports, and official palace statements that keeps the conversation alive. The intrigue isn't rooted in explosive new revelations, but in how these varied pieces interlock or from another viewpoint, where they seem to clash. That tension is what fuels ongoing curiosity, making the story feel far from finished. As the narrative continues to develop, it's almost certain that more layers will be added. Expect new books, investigative reports, legal filings, and official declarations to surface, each adding another piece to the jigsaw. This gradual drip of fresh information is a hallmark of major royal stories. Rarely do they conclude neatly with a single announcement. Instead, a slow reveal over months or even years keeps the public and pundits poring over every detail, eager to reassess and reinterpret what they thought they knew. Already, several upcoming publications and ongoing debates promise to keep this topic showing up in headlines and online discussions. Royal historians, authors, and commentators will continue to dissect the timeline from unique angles, while available legal documents and public records remain open to inspection by anyone interested in examining them directly. Whether these future discoveries will finally resolve age-old doubts or merely add fuel to the fire and stir up new questions remains to be seen. What makes this story particularly captivating is the way multiple sources offer differing accounts of the same events. The clash between official palace statements and other narratives ensures that every new detail sparks fresh speculation, keeping the mystery alive and the conversation buzzing. Countless television interviews, memoirs, biographies, and in-depth media investigations all add rich layers to this ongoing public conversation. Sometimes, Prince Harry and Meghan's stories align perfectly with other accounts, creating a coherent narrative that helps the world understand their experiences. Other times, these stories highlight different details or leave space for interpretation, inviting us to look closer and think deeper. This fluidity is exactly why debates and discussions about these events continue even years later, long after the headlines have faded. It's a reminder that historical narratives, especially those soaked in emotion and complexity, are rarely straightforward. At the same time, it's crucial to approach every piece of information with a critical eye. Not every report has been independently confirmed, and some claims remain unverified. That's why the smartest way to grasp the full picture is by examining the public record as a whole, piecing together details from multiple sources to see how the story has evolved over time. And as with any ongoing saga, new revelations can emerge at any moment, transforming our understanding and adding fresh context that wasn't available before. The chapters of this story are still being written. Whether you find yourself persuaded by one version of events or you're left with unanswered questions, there's one undeniable truth: this relationship between Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, and the royal family is one of the most closely watched, intensely scrutinized stories in the world. Each new interview, official statement, documentary, biography, or legal update sends ripples across media outlets and social platforms, reigniting public fascination. It's a story that refuses to be forgotten, and frankly, it seems likely to continue captivating audiences for years to come. Rest assured, we'll be here to follow every new development as it unfolds. Our goal is to sift through the facts from the speculation, providing clear, balanced insights into the biggest headlines. With so many royal stories still in motion, there's undoubtedly more drama and discussion on the horizon. If you appreciated this deep dive into one of the most compelling narratives of our time, please hit that like button to show your support. Share this video with a friend who shares your fascination with royal affairs. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss updates on the hottest celebrity and royal news making waves. Before you go, check out the next video about to appear on your screen. It's packed with more celebrity drama, royal developments, and thoughtful analysis of the stories everyone is buzzing about. Thanks so much for spending your time with us today. We can't wait to see you again in the next video.